with customer service, my number one question is, do the customers understand how to use the product? Because if they don't understand how to use the products, then they may think that the products don't work for them. So really understanding, everything on a higher level and then presenting it to the customer in a way that, they can understand or they relate to. And sometimes that's just about understanding all of these things. So that's pretty much how we're able to really understand, the customer.
You're listening to Ecomonics, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. Keya James, it is good to have you here in Economics. How are you doing today? How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad. Early morning start for me. It's still drilling season, so hopefully that's not going to be a factor in this episode. And sorry to my recurring audience. I thought drilling season was over, but I guess the groundhog had come out of its hole and said, no, drilling season is going to last another 6 weeks. So I'm just going to take that. I'm just going to have to roll with it. Opening question for you. One of my favorite questions, economics tradition, and I'm really excited to ask this one today, is to tell us who you are and what do you do?
My name is Keya James. I'm the owner and CEO of Taylor Beauty. Taylor Beauty is a premium natural hair care line that is safe for all ages. We use natural ingredients, and our products are sold online through our Shopify store. We sell on Amazon.com as well as Walmart stores.
Mm-hmm. And that's definitely one thing that I want to touch on because we'll get to it in a matter of moments. And what I appreciate is over the course of a lot of the people that I've talked to, for the most part, it all seems to just stay online. And I think the last person that I talked to about Walmart, they had mentioned, yeah, it's sold on Walmart, but it's sold online. So even that wasn't available in stores. So that's a breakthrough today for us to hear about the process of how it managed to become something physical that's available in the store. So we'll get to that. Okay. So one of the things that I learn about doing this is I go onto somebody's YouTube just to learn what I can in the time that I have and get a sense of their story. And what I saw was, your first wave of content, it's a mix of your personal story with the arrival of your child, as well as its insights into your hair care routine. And I scroll through all the way through to the most recent videos, and you're doing a tour of your warehouse for your company, something that I don't suppose was there from the beginning. So that's what I could tell. But I'd love to learn more about your evolution. So give us the story about how this started and how you got to the point that you are today.
Yeah, definitely. It started on YouTube. I started my natural hair journey, meaning that I stopped using chemicals in my hair and I wanted to use more natural ingredients. Then I had my daughter and I've started using over-the-counter products, but what I noticed is they had a lot of harsh ingredients that I just didn't feel was suitable for a baby. So I started doing research and just creating products in my kitchen. And probably after a year of creating those products and showing my audience the products online, I got a demand for the products. So originally we started on Etsy.com, and that went really well for a year or two, but that was more for like a hobby-based business. So at that time, it was more so a hobby. I was still doing YouTube, making money on the side, selling products. But I think in my second year of doing Etsy, that's when we did 6 figures. And that was before, social media marketing, Facebook marketing. At that time, that wasn't even heard of. So it was more so people going to YouTube to find information, and they found this information. And then next they will go to our stores. So once I realized, okay, this is not really a hobby, this is a business, we rebranded. And that's when we moved over to Shopify. And from there, we outgrew our home, but we were scaling and we outgrew our home. So we went from our home to, and this is my family business. This is me, my husband, and my mom at the time. We went from a family business to working out of a storage unit. And we did that for a year. Then we moved into a smaller warehouse, about half the size of our warehouse now. And today, now we're in I think it's 4,000 square feet, 4,000 square feet warehouse, where we have distribution. We still do our manufacturing in house. Well, we do some of our products in house because we tried to move them over to a manufacturer and the quality doesn't remain consistent. And then we have manufacturers that do our product at mass production for us, the ones that have a little bit more simpler formula to recreate. We use a manufacturer for those. So that's kind of how we started. I create all of my formulas from scratch, and this is where we are today.
So I can't help but ask some hair related questions just because that's one
Mhm.
of the motifs of this episode, and I myself I've been obsessed with my own hair since high school. For me the obsession started because I was developing a crush and I thought, okay, well now I got to get myself I got to get my act together. Did
Yeah.
it work? No, but it was the beginning of a journey that eventually paid off. And I will say, like I've talked about this before, but like it takes quite a while to really like develop a routine for. And it's not like, I mean, okay, I'm kind of vain. I admit that, but a lot of the time, it's not like I'm trying to pull off some amazing look or anything like that. I'm just trying to keep everything in order. Like I watched Reservoir Dogs and I saw like the way they combed their hair back and looked all slick, and I thought, that's it. That's the epitome of the style. So I want to ask about the chemicals. We live in a pretty chemical life. Like it's all it's hard. It's escapable, but it's hard. There's chemicals in food and processed food, chemicals, and not just in our hair products, but in our body products and deodorant. So, from your experience, what did you see were some of the negative effects that putting chemicals in the hair had caused maybe in the short term and in the long term?
That's what once I started taking relaxers out of my hair, which is a chemical process for straightening your hair. Once I stopped using relaxers, and being more knowledgeable about the side effects of relaxers, that's when I noticed that they're linked to cancer, they're linked to fibroids, especially in African American women. Um, I've known people who went through that as well. I'm not saying that the relaxers was the cause of that, but if that's something that, can stop me from even developing that, I wanted to take that out. And not just with hair products, but just with everything, what I eat, what I drink. I became more conscious of those things, and I eventually became a vegan. So really educating myself on reading ingredients and understanding, okay, this is not a good ingredient. This is a good ingredient. This ingredient is beneficial for this, and really just learning. And it wasn't just, like I said, it wasn't just about hair products. It was just my everyday life. I became more accustomed to doing that. So when it was time to create formulas, I already knew what ingredients was not going to go into my formulas.
hmm And I don't know this about the industry, and far be it from any one individual to be the nexus of information about this. But my guess is that the hair care industry largely leans towards synthetic product, and then in a lot of the cases, and I remember reading about this with you, is that there's a lot of products that come across as natural, or they say they're natural, but that's only because they get off on a technicality where there may be like hint of coconut in there, but for the most part, it's still basically synthetic. So it sounds to me like natural hair care products really are like the pattern interrupt, and that there's not nearly as much market share towards those products, even though there should be, because it
Yeah.
sounds, yeah.
And actually, people are becoming more knowledgeable about that. So they're doing a little bit more research on the stuff that they put in their hair. And, at the time when I first started my business, it wasn't as popular, but there was a niche audience for it. Now, people don't want to use sulfates in their shampoo because they know that sulfates are linked to different cancers. They have carcinogens in them. And so people are becoming more aware of that. But when I first started, it was a very niche audience.
Right. And yeah, you did because you weren't viewing it as a business. You were saying it was just a hobby and it was just something that you wanted to do to resolve a problem for yourself, which is something that I really want the audience to spend a moment to think about because this is something that I've seen in research as well in some of the solo episodes I did at the beginning is that a lot of the businesses that really have a place in the market and in the world start from a place of genuine need. An example of this that I had researched is somebody who was trying to feed her kid cookies, but she had a lot of allergies and a lot of restrictions. So she had to find these gluten-free cookies that her kid could eat. She makes them herself, and then over time starts selling it to other people because the demand for that was far more than I think a lot of these cookie companies who do the research could ever have discovered. So what were you doing prior to this in your line of work? I understand it was in counseling.
Yeah, I was a licensed professional counselor. So I did that. I just finished grad school when I had my daughter. My daughter's 7, so I had just finished grad school when I had her. So I specialize in counseling, and if you watch some of my older videos with her, that's a lot of what I talk about. Is doing a child's hair is all about a bond, and creating a bond with your child. So I was showing them products, but I was also giving them some type of value as well, using my experience and using my expertise on how to communicate with your child, how to create this bond through a process of an hour or hour long process of doing hair.
And would you? One thing that I tend to ask is if there were any skills or any perspectives that had joined or came with you when you transitioned into e-commerce.
Yes, even now it's still a skill that I use. Counseling is all about solving a problem. Usually, when somebody comes in, my office, they have a problem, and my job as a counselor is not to solve the problem for them, but to give them the tools in order to be able to solve that problem. So, a lot of our customers, one of the main issues that they have is there's something in their hair care routine that they don't understand how to do. So one of the things that I decided is, okay, I can't solve everybody's problem, but we can have a solution for the problems that they may have. So we developed a quiz on our website, which is a plugin for Shopify, and basically I developed a quiz based on a lot of questions that were being asked, a lot of questions that were being asked on social media, emails, even meeting people in person on at trade shows, and really just taking hours. It took me about a month to develop this quiz, and create specific different regimens for people to have based on what the issue was. So let's say I was a counselor, your job as a client would be to go home and do the homework that I give you. So in this case, the regimen is the homework. The regimen is you being provided with the tools and putting that into your everyday life so that it can be successful for you.
Yeah, and I think what it does too is that it puts the customer in the right place for them to then know what product they need.
Mhm.
Because if the product is somewhat of a mystery to them, or sorry, if the problem is somewhat of a mystery to them, then they're not gonna quite know what the solution is, and so they end up buying something that doesn't really help, and they're left with a negative view of the product because it didn't solve the problem because they didn't even know what the problem is. And I will say too, by the way, I was trying to fill this quiz out. I didn't go all the way just because for the purposes of time, it had asked me to write out an answer, and I said, okay, hang on, I'm just researching here. This is a long story, and also I should have stopped when it asked me what porosity is because I don't even know what porosity is. If you don't mind me, I mean, we could all look it up on Google, but I like to hear your expertise on it.
Porosity is basically how well your hair holds moisture. So there's three types of porosity. There's high porosity, low porosity, and normal porosity hair. And just depending on how well your hair holds moisture, that determines your porosity levels and what type of products you should use. So, for example, if your hair is high porosity, you may not want to use heavy products on your hair because your hair absorbs moisture very well.
All right, I'm gonna ask you one more follow up question for this, and then I'll put us back on track because like, as the audience understands, I am a bit of a hair guy, so I don't even know how to know if my hair holds moisture or not. Like I'm not sure. Like I don't know how to exactly quantify that. Like, do I have to like run my hand through my hair and feel how long the dampness lasts for?
Well, there's two ways that people determine that. Well, that I know of right now, everything's always changing in the natural hair community. So
Hmm.
tomorrow might be something different. But what I know of right now is there's two ways. If you go in the shower and your hair immediately absorbs water, then that's a way that you can determine your porosity, how your hair absorbs water. Another way is a strand test where you just find a strand of hair laying around or
I got plenty of those.
cut a strand off your hair, and if it floats or sinks, that will determine your porosity as well.
Oh, okay. I might have to try that. Now, so I want to get back to the product development because, again, it bears repeating that this was something that you had needed personally, you had developed it personally in your kitchen, and now it's available on shelves at Walmart. And what I want to know about is not just with that product, but throughout the different product line is if your development process had remained consistent with each subsequent product that you had worked on, or if with the additional expertise and additional resources, as if your development phase had changed.
Um, that's a good question.
Thank you.
That's a really good question. Um, there's not really there's not really a yes or no to that question because it does remain consistent, but it has changed at the same time.
Hmm.
So it's remained consistent because the same quality and standards of ingredients that I use in the products is very consistent. For example, like we spoke about using products that don't contain harmful ingredients. That's always going to be consistent with my company, as well as products that are safe for all ages because we are a family brand. That's always going to be consistent with our company. Now, what has changed is that I realized in order to go into the retail space, I'm not a chemist.
Hmm.
I can create products all day long, but at the end of the day, I'm not a chemist. So I had to one of the things that we I first did when I first started making products in my kitchen was I would do my own stability test, and the stability test basically is how long does your product remain stable without going rancid. And I would do these stability tests where I would create a product, I would leave up in a cabinet for up to a year sometimes, and if it didn't mold, then that means that the product remains stable based on how I created it. But in working and meeting manufacturers, I was able to connect with the chemist. So have a develop these formulas, develop these ideas, and bring them to a chemist in order for them to do the scientific work on making sure everything remains stable, and also making sure that it meets the quality standards for retail. Because had I been doing this, years ago when I first started putting it in a cabinet, it's not going to cut it. So to answer your question, everything remains consistent, but it's all about making sure that we provide a very safe product that, is not going to go bad or nothing's going to happen from using this product. And, sometimes we see that with a lot of hobby based businesses is that they have really, really great formulas. But the shelf life doesn't last a long time. So making sure that it has a long shelf life is really important to me.
I can understand that. I mean, I can imagine that with synthetic product is that they can also get away with using more preservatives so that it does last longer. Whereas, I mean, what would be the natural equivalent of a preservative?
A natural equivalent of a preservative, there are natural preservatives. So there's synthetic preservatives that are harmful, but there are also natural preservatives. Like one of the ones that we widely use is called Optiphen. It's a natural preservative that we use in a lot of our products. That's very safe and very natural.
hmm So I'm going to ask you about one other product in your line, just so that I can get a picture of the difference between the first product and your most recent product. So, as much as you're willing to reveal, right? We don't want to hear all the secrets, but well, actually, I do want to hear all the secrets, but I don't blame you for not saying them. Can you tell us about the development of whatever it is? It's your most recent product.
Let me think. What is my most recent product? Um,
Or like, I don't know, within the ballpark, like it doesn't have to be like the very last one, fast to finish line, but just to compare the difference between how the first one came about versus the most recent ones.
All right, so we have two different lines within our products. We have the Ultimate Collection. That was the one that I first developed that we see on YouTube and we see in the early stages of our business. Then we have another line of products called the Ultimate Collection. And they were both developed the same way. But once I started learning more about my consumer, I had to understand how can I develop products that my consumers need, and that my consumers want, and what exactly is the demand right now for the type of products that they need. So that's a little bit, different because at the beginning I was using ingredients like coconut oil, castor oil, um, more common oils, but I realized that medicinal ingredients, which I was at one time, I was a little bit afraid to get into that market, because they were a little too, oh, that's really, 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 really natural for me.
hmm
But I realized after playing around with them, these are some great ingredients that have really, really, really great benefits. And I think that our customers would really love and appreciate these products. So some of the things that have changed is really making sure that we always keep the customer in mind, because when I had a hobby, it was more so about what I wanted and what I could sell based on what I wanted. And as our business grew, we had to understand what the customer wants and how we can develop those products for the customer.
hmm And I'm gonna add that to my queue because I do want to talk about just how you interact with customers. So that's in queue. The next one that I want to know about is scaling. So just to understand, like kind of like where economics comes from. That is the first time I said economics. That's okay. I'm gonna want to keep track of that. That's okay. So where our show comes from is scaling is an important element to this because there is some upfront cost, and then we want to this we do have to spend money on our Facebook advertisements, but we want to use those initial ads so we can understand who our consumers are, and then scale, and that's when it all makes it worthwhile. Now, I'm thinking that there is a challenge between scaling products with natural ingredients versus scaling products with synthetic ingredients, because I imagine synthetic ingredients are easier to make at scale. So you did touch about on this at the beginning, and just what's in house versus what's manufactured. So what were some of the challenges or obstacles that you had faced in trying to scale products with a line of natural ingredients? Or actually, another way of saying it is, was there a challenge, or would it have been about the same if you had just sold, I don't know,
Yeah,
poison?
it's very challenging
hmm
because when you have a really natural product, it costs a lot of money to make. So that's the first challenge, is being able to mass produce a product and still being able to have a customer who can afford to buy the product, because you don't want to go into mass production and they've already been accustomed to paying one price point and now they have to pay a totally different price point, because you've decided to go into mass production. So um, the biggest challenge was really finding the right manufacturer who did not want to skimp on any of the ingredients that we wanted. And so the biggest challenge was actually finding a manufacturer who would keep our formulas consistent. I think we went through about we tested up several manufacturers before we found our number one manufacturer, who really, not only did they understand how important it was for us to have those ingredients consistent with the product, but really um, knowing my chemist and showing my chemist, okay, this is the exact process of how I make my products. When we do it in mass production, it still has to be made the same exact way, with the same exact machines, the same exact ingredients. And sometimes manufacturers don't want to do that because they work with other companies and it's easy to create a base formula. And that's just something that we weren't willing to compromise on. We wanted the quality to remain consistent. Um, and that was definitely the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I will say it's somewhat of a relief to know that you had manufacturers that you could reach out to, because I can see it being intimidating to, oh no, do I have to set up my own factory? Do I have to manufacture all these myself? Is my house going to turn into like an Acme? Uh,
It did at
yeah,
one point. It was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it definitely was. And, we still manufacture two of our products in house. One of our products that we manufacture in house is our everything butter. So we have all the standards for manufacturing that. And then we have another product, which is our clay detox soap, that is also manufactured in house. Um, and that was really important to me when I got this warehouse, is to actually have a dedicated production room just to be able to manufacture those products, because those products are really, really, really difficult to make at a mass production.
Hmm.
So we made the decision to continue to keep those products in house for the lifetime of our company.
Hmm. And okay, last one about that. But how has meeting demand been?
Um, it's better.
Yeah, yeah.
It's better. It's better. 2020 was very difficult. It was very challenging because of the pandemic. But that was our, that year is when our business really scaled. We In 2020 we made more in our business that year than we had made in the lifetime of our company. Um, prior to that. So you think that, oh well, a pandemic would, hurt someone's business. It actually did the opposite for ours, because people wanted to know how to do their hair at home, because they no longer wanted to go to a shop to go get their hair done. So now you have people who are really interested in doing it. Then our Facebook ads took off. Our Everything just took off that year. But the biggest challenge was that a lot of our components, like our jars, our tops, were made overseas.
Hmm.
And so there was a shortage across our industry where, even our competitors didn't have any jars or tops. So that left us with a limited amount of products that we could sell. So we had to be really creative in how we were selling those products and making sure we met the customer's demand. But even with, sometimes even half of our products in stock, we still were able, we scaled tremendously with that.
Yeah, I guess I didn't. It didn't occur to me. I should have, because it's quite obvious. But not only would your company run into a roadblock with the containers, but so was everybody else. Because
Mhm.
I couldn't name a company off the top of my head that would have been manufacturing uh, all of that, yeah, here in the West. So that's a valid observation. All right. So the Walmart question. I've been waiting for this one because I'm eager to know how. And again, it's up to you how much you want to reveal. If there's any secrets you want to keep to yourself, it's all good. But at what point did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you? And how did what did you have to go through? Paperwork you had to sign? Whatever it is you're willing to tell us, I'd love to know.
Yeah, so Walmart, and I'm very transparent about my journey as an entrepreneur. If you watch my YouTube channel, Keya J, you'll see like I am very transparent about that. So it took a long time. I will say that it wasn't something that just happened overnight. And Walmart said, "Hey, I want your products." It did not happen like that. Um, and it's something that we had to know that we were ready for when you're selling to a big box distributor, your company has to be in a financial situation in order to do that, as well as you have to be able to place the maintain those purchase orders that they do for you. So I would say, if you don't have a warehouse, you don't have manufacturing, you don't have all of those things, you're not even in a situation to sell in big box stores. And Amazon.com was our practice for big box stores, because a lot of stuff that you go through on Amazon is, I want to say, is similar, but it prepares you for that process. So um, we actually pitched to Walmart twice. The first time we pitched to Walmart, it didn't work out. And they gave us some really, really good feedback. So, with the feedback that they provided us with, um, we used the feedback and we took the feedback and it helped develop us as better business people. And if I think back at that time, would I have been successful? Probably not. I probably would have been in the store, but I don't know if I could have stayed in the store, which is two
Right.
different things. Because when you're not no longer in a store, there's a lot of challenges that come with that because you have to buy back your products at full price. So sometimes when people go into big box stores, they end up going out of business. So the first time they did educate me on the process, I learned a lot. And I pitched to several retailers as well. And at that time, we actually was in another store called Navy Exchange, which is it's a base store, and we learned a lot during that process. So the second time around, when we did pitch, they're like, "Hey, we love your brand. We think your brand would be perfect for our store. We want to do it." And it is scary to be in a big box store, because there's so much that comes with it as well. Your staff increases, your purchase orders with your manufacturer increases. And so you have to be ready for that, as well as all of the marketing efforts that come with it. Um, so it was a challenge. It took a long time, but I would say that, to anybody who is thinking about being in a retailer, like, really focus on growing your business and making sure that you can meet the demands of being a scalable online business before you even think about retail, if that's the route that you want to go.
Hmm. There's a couple of like sub questions that occurred to me. One of them is specifically about what feedback that they had given you.
Mhm. Um, the feedback that they gave me was, the feedback that they gave me is more so like on how the product looks. Um, I'm trying to figure out how I can give an example of this. Do you ever go on a shelf and something just looks so great you want to buy it, or the text is so large you can read it? It was just little things like that that really helped us to actually make the product look better in order to be more appealing to the customer. I think that was like our number one feedback, as well as, how different is this product from your competitors, which is, I mean, anybody's going to give you that advice, whether it's Walmart or anyone else, is what makes your product different, what makes your product stand out, and really being able to develop that story as well. Because if you look at, two of the same products with the same ingredients, there's a reason why somebody wants one product as opposed to another product. So really being able to stand out on the shelf with your products.
Right, because shopping in person is a highly visual experience, and as somebody who does go through the hair care aisle, what I notice is that over time I can identify brands just from the color profile from a distance,
Mhm.
and I can visually and I can see in my mind some of the ones that I buy. Now, granted, I am kind of blanking on the names of them. I remember the name of my deodorant, but I can't remember the name of the conditioner that I use. So I'm gonna have to work on that. But what I can understand is it, products are tightly compacted. They're trying to make as much use of the space as possible while also not turning it into a chaotic jungle of a shopping experience. So for that reason, color profile, your primary color, your secondary color, what font. If even if I couldn't like read the letter exactly, depending on my distance, knowing the color that they use for the letters actually moves it quite a ways. So that all makes a great deal of sense. The other thing that I'm wondering too is just about you know within your own trajectory is if you what vision you had for where you wanted to go, because I think deciding on what stores you want to sell in does convey a lot about the brand. I will say that like if something is in a Walmart, it does convey mass market appeal because Walmarts are even here in Canada we got plenty of them too. Whereas I think if you had a vision more for what was the other name of the store, the other one that you were selling in?
Navy Exchange.
Okay, and would that be more of a boutique store, or is that more? I don't know. I don't know that one because I think that's a U.S. only one.
Well, it's actually a military only store.
Oh, okay. Didn't see that coming.
So yeah, so basically, the buyer for that store was really interested in selling our products at the Navy Exchange. And basically, Navy Exchange is, if you ever go to like a base, there's like a store on base where they sell, it's basically like a little Walmart, a mini Walmart for the people who's on base. And so I think we were in over 100 Navy Exchange stores, but not just Navy Exchange stores here in the US, um, in other countries as well. Um, did I imagine my products to be a Navy Exchange from the very beginning of our company? No. Um, did I think it was a good decision to make for my company? Yes, because as I learned, my competitors are in that store. My consumers shop there. Navy Exchange is a store where if if you have access to an army base, it's the whole family is shopping at that store.
Right. Okay.
So it became, once I became knowledgeable about what it was and how it could really help my business, and it wasn't going to cut my prices or anything like that, I decided that it was a great opportunity for our business.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing you said the family too. I sort of figured that out, but at first I thought, why are the people in the military shopping for hair care? I thought everybody cuts their hair. Okay, that makes sense. And then I don't know. Maybe you were selling something that is good for the for the bald heads, something like a scalp, a scalp. I don't know, moisturizer, something
As
like.
you're in the military or you're a family member of the military, you can go to the store and shop, and it's tax free.
Mhm. Okay, if you, one more about this, just because I just wanted to take this opportunity to ask. But did the families live in on the barracks, or because I would imagine that the soldier might not be close to his own
To
home.
be honest, I'm not sure.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So
Because I don't know much about the military, but I do know from our customers who were excited. Like I know one of our customers had went to Hawaii, but she shopped at the base store in Hawaii. She went on base and shopped in Hawaii. So from my I don't think they live on the base.
okay,
No,
yeah.
but I don't want to be incorrect about the information
Okay,
ever.
no worries. Yeah, that was a stretch, I admit, and I do know somebody who was a former Marine, so I'll just talk to him about it. Um, okay, so I want to ask about your consumer research methods, because you've been very connected with your well, at first they weren't buyers, but eventually they became your customers, and you've been connected with them for a long time, and I think that's really important because it lays out this foundation of trust and these people that that are there to support you, and you're there to support them. So at the place that you are now, what do you do to find out your customers' needs? Facebook posts. You do your survey. I know about that one. But what else do you do?
Right. So right now my business has changed so much that, at the beginning I could communicate with my customers. I could respond to comments. I could do all of those things. Right now, we do have somebody who just solely does customer service. So that really helps when we're having team meetings. Our customer service person is in our marketing meetings, for example, because even though customer service and marketing are two different things, marketing has to know what customer service needs. And I need to know what the customers want. Another thing that I do, I haven't been able to do this because of the pandemic, but we do a lot of trade shows, and I try to be present at every single trade show that we have. We do, in the past, we were doing about 7 to 10 trade shows a year. So it wasn't just, talking to somebody behind the phone or talking to somebody at a screen. It was like talking to people in person and really understanding, touching their hair, feeling their hair, them telling me what their issue was. And of course, the quiz is a huge, huge, huge one that we use to understand, what our customers' issues are. Because there's one question on the quiz that says, what problems are you having with your hair? It's an open-ended sentence. You can use one word, you can use 500 words. We want to know what problems you're having with your hair. And with customer service, my number one question is, do the customers understand how to use the products? Because if they don't understand how to use the products, then they may think that the products don't work for them. So, when we integrate all of those things, not only are we understanding the customer, but we're meeting the customer where they are, because we're producing content that actually shows the customer, okay, you want this type of hairstyle. This is the regimen that's right for you. Or you want, your hair has this problem. This is the regimen that's right for you. So really understanding, everything on a higher level, and then presenting it to the customer in a way that, they can understand or they relate to. And sometimes that's just about understanding all of these things and producing contents in the form of a reel on Instagram. So that's pretty much how we're able to really understand, the customer.
hmm And at this point, I want to ask a little bit about the the layout of the hair niche, and I'm hoping to accomplish at least one of two things. I don't think I'm going to accomplish both for each individual person, but on one hand, I imagine some people might be interested in the hair niche, anyways.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, I would also like to use this as a chance to compare how specific the hair niche can get versus so that people can keep in mind, well, this is the specificity of this, and then maybe there's a similar specificity to other ones, however they choose to move into their markets. So I know that from reading it, it's curly hair. I think that's one half of it. I'm blanking on what was the other niche that you focus on, but like, what can you tell us about the hair niche and how specific this really gets?
It's very specific, and I'll talk about this after I answer this question. But it's very specific because there's so many different types of hair.
Yeah.
And our motto for Tailored Beauty is what regimen works for her may not work for you. That's why our name is Tailored Beauty, because our products are tailored for you. So really understanding those different hair types is what's gonna make you successful in your regimen. So there's kinky hair types, there's curly hair types, and there's wavy, and then there's straight. Our products are specifically for kinky and curly hair type. And so you can be kinky or you can be curly. Your hair could be high porosity, porosity, um, high porosity, low porosity, normal porosity. You can have chemically colored hair that changes your porosity. There's so many different elements to how your hair could be, but when you kind of like get all of those things and figure it out, you can actually figure out what products work for you. So we're specific to kinky and curly hair types, and then everything else we help you figure out the rest. And what I was going to say was, I understand why you would ask that question, because when I think about my brand, I think about what I want my brand to look like 10 years from now, and what different, you know, do I just only want to focus on hair? Do I want to focus on beauty? And that's something that I want to focus on. And I started formulating skincare products, and I realized there is so much to creating a skincare product that makes it so complicated
Hmm.
that how do people do it? And I think people might look at hair products like that too. Like, how do you do it? There is so complex. So I can completely understand um, why you would even ask that question, because it does sound very complicated.
And it is, but at the same time, I also think it's encouraging because no matter how specific a person's view of the world is, or no how much specific their taste is, there is a market that they can be an expert in. And it's funny
Mhm.
too, because you're saying like skincare products, and being Italian, any skincare product would also technically have to be a hair care product because there's no surface area where it's just skin. So I'm not going to dwell too much on that. Yeah. So with work and talking with customers, so the research I understand, but because you have so much, I mean, you have your responsibilities, you have control over the company. How do you set up your, or I guess I should ask it, if you set up incentive programs, like what kind of promotions you typically run, how you incentivize customers, get their emails, that kind of thing.
We because our business started online, we rely heavily on digital marketing. So we do provide our customers with incentives, and in order to receive those incentives, you would have to be on a mailing list. So we do use Klaviyo for our mailing list, and a lot of our incentives are sent through mailing lists. At one time, we did have a points program through Shopify, but we realized it wasn't really converting very well. So we got rid of that. Um, and then sales, we are not a sale brand. And we want our customers to know that, like, we're not a sale brand. You're not going to get a sale every week, every month. We may have, I think at most we have 5 sales a year, and that's still a lot for our company. So we don't have a lot of sales, but if you are a customer, we do retarget our customers. So let's say a customer purchased and it's time for them to re-up on their products. Klaviyo allows for flows to automatically tell those customers to come back and shop, but you get a discount that nobody else is able to receive because we don't have any sales. So we definitely give incentives to our customers, to new customers, but we are not a sale brand.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to completely formulate like what would be the cost margins of it. So I guess what I'll ask instead is, there's because there's two components. How much of it is how it would affect your people's perception of you, because if you because I like the way you're saying it, like you're not a sale brand. So if somebody has a perception that a brand will often have sales, then that does influence their behavior. So there's
Mhm.
that, and then the other side too is just margins and how much it would actually end up costing you, if even if it converts in the moment, it ends up costing in the long run.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's more of the first where we are more so we don't want people to only buy because it's a sale.
Yeah.
Whereas, when it's not a sale brand, you kind of get that consistent flow of customers. You kind of understand, what revenue goals you have to hit. But also, when those sales do come, you have an amazing sale and you're prepared for those sales. The worst thing that can happen is you buy something on sale, and 3 months later is when you receive the product. So, when we do have sales, um, those are huge days for us. So we want to be prepared for that. But I believe that if we had sales like every week or so, we wouldn't have that same type of demand when a sale does happen.
Hmm.
Also, with any sale, your margins are not going to be the same. So that's another thing that we have to be prepared for. Like, for instance, our Black Friday sale, we always make six figures on that sale date. So that means everything that we have to do in order to make up for the margin that's missed, we have to make sure that we're making up for it. So we have to communicate with our with UPS to let them know, hey, there's going to be a high demand. Can we get a good rate at this time? We have to make sure packaging equipment is cheaper. We have to do bigger purchase orders so that we could get the stuff at a lower price. So we do kind of miss the margin a little bit, but we're not going to be at a bad place if we have a sale like that.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's one thing for the audience to take away too is just keep in mind how a consumer sees you and
Mhm.
how that's going to affect when they'll convert and when not they'll convert. And I appreciate that while you're not running too many sales, that's the ones you do run are significant. And it feels like that this actually is a sale, because I will say I've bought plenty of things, and oftentimes I see, "Oh, you're on sale, are you? Yeah, okay. All right." I come back a week later. "Oh, you're on sale, are you? Oh, I see. It's the summer of the eternal equinox sale. Oh, yes, of course. Yes, I'm a big fan of that calendar date. Okay. All right,
Yeah,
I
and
got you.
sometimes that 30% off might not even be good enough for you to want to buy because when they had the summer equinox sale, it was 50% off.
Yeah. Um, I'm we're closing in on the hour mark, and I gotta say, you've given us a lot of really great insights into this, a lot of takeaways. There's one here I wanted to ask as well, because I looked at your interview on Naturally Curly, and one piece of advice that you give is to focus on learning all the aspects of the business before proceeding with it. Now, I will say, just so our audience understands, I think this is like the 80th person I've talked to. I don't know, by about the 50th interview, I've lost count. But we definitely have a lot of different opinions on this. We have the jump in and learn as you go, School of Hard Knocks opinion. We have the train before you go opinion. We have people who are balanced. We have, I mean, there's ones that I'm not thinking at the top of my head, but there's certainly like a wide array of them. And so I definitely wanted to get your take on how this goes. But I wanted to specify it because I know you have a business degree, and you did go to school for it. So what I'm wondering about is like what, and school didn't give you everything you needed to know to do what you're doing today, but what did you have to learn on your own versus what did school prepare you for?
Okay, so school didn't really teach me anything about running a business. It'll probably reveal my age, but I graduated from school in 2007.
I'm 2009, so we're not far off.
Okay. So in 2007, there was no courses on email marketing, social media marketing, psychology of a online consumer. There were none of these type of courses at that time. So a lot of that stuff I had to learn on my own. And you asked me what approach is it? Is it kind of the train before I learn? Because it was a hobby for me. Um, it wasn't a perfect moment. Like some people build up this perfect moment, but for me, it wasn't a perfect moment. It was I would say 1 year, our business did not do good. And that was because we hired out so many people that were experts that really weren't experts.
Hmm.
And not to bash those people, I had to take accountability for my hiring practices. I had to take accountability that I hired people to manage Facebook ads or to manage email campaigns, to manage social media, to manage all of these aspects of my business. And I wasn't growing in that area as an entrepreneur. So after that year, I let those people go and I really invested the money that I was going to invest in other people. I invested that in myself. So I learned how to do Facebook marketing. I went to different events. I went to different Shopify events. I went to different Klaviyo events. And now I know everything to look for. I'm actually about to start hiring out on my Facebook ads, but I learned how to do my own ads. I learned how to do my own email marketing, my own flows, and things like that. But I think the approach is based on the person. Me personally, I based on some of my mistakes, the best advice I would give is to really take your time and learn, and not just learn on YouTube. Go out there, go to seminars, go to events, go to 3 or 4 day long events where they're going to provide you with valuable information, so that you can grow as an entrepreneur. But now, if I hire someone, I already know the red flags to look for.
Hmm. Yeah, and you know what, because having done it yourself, you're
Mhm.
hiring somebody. Okay, now not only do you know whether or not they're skilled at it, but you also know how to guide them and how to
Yeah.
make sure that they're doing the job in the way that you see fit.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Well, so Kia, that's everything that I had, and I will say it was quite a bit, definitely a lot to take in. I'm gonna cap off. This is nothing to do with anything else that we've talked about, but because I know that you said you went vegan, and between my dietary restrictions and my girlfriend dietary restrictions, we run into a lot. Somehow, steak managed to pass both of our muster, so that's I am an omnivore, but I would like to know just some of the vegan recipes that you do, like what typically you do for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Breakfast, you see what I was eating? I ate fruits. Honestly, my diet could be a whole lot better. um, since I moved to this warehouse, it's not in like our other warehouse was like in a more trendy city area. So I had all the good spots. Like I would eat a green juice every day, eat avocado toast. But now that I'm responsible for my own food, I eat a lot of fruits for breakfast. Lunch is always leftovers from the day before or Uber Eats. Honestly, Uber Eats has a really good filter where you can just put vegan.
Hmm.
And then dinner, my family is not vegan. So, for example, tonight is Taco Tuesday, and everything in the taco is the same, but the protein. So they're gonna have chicken, and I'm going to have. I think tonight I'm gonna do chickpeas instead. Um, but we pretty much eat the same. It's just about switching out the proteins.
Have you ever tried TVP?
What's that? No.
Oh, okay, well, here in Toronto, we have the hipster nexus called Kensington Market, and there was a burrito place. It was all vegan, and it was called
Mhm.
a textured vegan protein.
Oh,
It was an attempt to try to get as
it's
close
different
to the
real meat. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not a fan of the baked meat. There's something about the texture that I can't. It's the texture.
Yeah, I don't know. I always like them when I first eat them, and then like I'll eat it again, and then the spice profile starts to wear away at me. Like this is so spicy, not funny. Anyways, that's enough about that. If you ever want to come back and let us know how your recipes have evolved, you're more than welcome
To
to.
tell you too that I've done a lot of interviews and you really did your research. Like I'm really
Thank you.
impressed by the amount of research that you did for this interview. I'm just like blown away. So you did a really good job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I will say is like I've been in media for 10 years. You know, I do consider myself a professional, and in fact, a few other people do too. So that helps. But when I talk to my guests, I understand how valuable their time is, and it's really important to me to make sure that if I'm going to have this interview with them, I'm going to do the best I can to make sure that like this interview is it sets the benchmark for what they should expect out of an interview. So I couldn't live with myself if I didn't do a good job.
Yeah, you did a great job. I
Well, th-
appreciate
well, thank you so much.
even
Um,
the flows of the emails of making sure the email flows from the beginning up until like the last minute. Those were really good too.
Yeah. That part's not me. That's my boss Ricky. He's very good at form and flow. So that was all him. So credit goes to him in that regard. But yeah, this has been great. As I've said 3 times now, because I am keeping track. Definitely a lot to take away from. And doors always open. So you know, if things come along, give yourself a couple of quarters and see how things are. You want to come back and let us know how things are going. We're more than welcome to have you back.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Oh, I have to give you our ender question, which is if you have any last minute advice or any parting words you'd like to share with people, you're more than welcome to. And then let the audience know how they can reach out, find your YouTube, find your store, maybe get some of that, some of that hair care product.
If I have any advice, I would be like, when it comes to business, just do it. If you have an idea that you want to do, just do it. And it'll take off. But you have to be really dedicated and consistent to everything that you do. And one of the things that I wish I would have done better early on with my business is really took the time to network. So if you see someone who you really admire, or if you come across people face to face, connect with them because connections are so valuable when you become an entrepreneur. Um, but you guys can find me on the internet. You can find me on Instagram. My personal Instagram is Keya James, Keya James underscore. Same with my YouTube channel, Keya J. I do a lot of entrepreneurship videos. So if you're interested to see how my journey looks from start to finish, I definitely have a playlist that's just solely based on entrepreneurship. And you can find Taylor Beauty at Walmart stores in the US, or go to our website, taylorbeautyproducts.com.
Let me know when they're in Canada, by the way.
I will.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, good.
will.
All right, excellent. All right, audience, as always, it is an honor to be able to collect and then provide this information to you. And thank you once more for giving some of your time to us. So with that, take care, and we'll check in soon.
It's morning my time. I think we might actually be in the same time zone in the eastern U.S. in Florida.
Hey, this is Joseph from Ecomonics. Just wanted to thank you for being here and for giving this content your time and attention. I hope you learned something. I can say with certainty, I have learned something with every episode that I have done, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. There's a couple of things you can do to help us out. If you want to check out the audio content, we are available on all major podcast platform distributors. And while you're there, give us a 5-star review. It helps a lot. And while you're here on YouTube, there's a lot of things you can do to help out as well. It's not going to take very long. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button for this episode, and hit the notification bell so when we have new content for you, it's going to be at your doorstep ASAP. Lastly, this podcast is created by Debutify, the best Shopify template available. It is 100% free for you to start, and it can change your life. It can make you so much more free than you are right now. So if this episode wasn't enough to convince you, I think a few more might do the trick. So have at it.